The seagulls and crows outside appear to be having some kind of gang war. My money is on the crows. They're not as big as the seagulls, but they seem more vicious. They're hungrier for it, if you know what I mean. So I look forward to living under my crow overlords. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and Patreon, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. There. That was kind of funky. I ruined it. Should have quit while I was ahead. Now, if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions. You can fast track reactions, become a reaction. There's special roles on my Discord server. There's access to patron exclusive educational vocal videos. So consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Okay, we're going to be listening to somebody completely new today. This suggestion came through, I think, from Instagram like a while ago. It's for a band called Dead Can Dance. Now I don't know much about this band apart from that the singer, she sings using idioglossia, which is basically a language that only you speak. So like a made up language if you want. Sometimes twin babies will speak to each other in like a language that no one else gets, but they seem to know what they're talking about. So I'm interested to see whether this language is built so that the singing sound different or better or what. I'm confused, but I'm also excited. So let's just go ahead and listen. She is in her feelings. You can already tell like the eyes are rolling about. She's gonna sell this, I can tell. Okay. Ooh, this is gorgeous stuff that we're getting so far. And we're like 2 lines in. So yeah, this feels almost shamanic in delivery. Like it's very primal sounding. She's just kind of letting her voice swell up. So there's crescendos that are coming out, and as she hits the apex of that crescendo, she's tilting with her thyroid cartilage, which is making a sound sweet and giving like a lot of natural vibrato there. Then she kind of gives it a wee quiver. She's using a real good mix of nasal tones, which is coming from her velum, which makes it muffled. And then she's lifting that velum away so that the nasal passage is cut off and it's a completely oral sound, especially on these big vowels. Just great. I'm only 2 lines in and I'm already like geeking out. Fantastic. This is so good. I have no idea what she's saying, but no one does, so that's good. I'm in good company. So she's doing this almost kind of Shakira-esque sound, if I was going to put another person on it. It's quite far back placed in her mask. The larynx is completely dropped and it sounds like she's got a compressed tongue. That kind of sound. I'm not going to get it exact because this is the first time I've heard it. But it's a really interesting tone. Some would say almost like froggy kind of sounding. But in the context of this song, it's just pushing through the kind of synthy sound. It's giving that thickness to what's a very thin sound around the outside of it, so it's really nice in contrast. I also like watching the way that her lips move. There's very kind of tiny little movements of her mouth over certain vowels, and it's giving it like just almost like a static kind of feeling, like electric static. It kind of buzzes. Yeah, I'm a fan already. This is fascinating. You can hear that static coming through there. So that's almost like a forced vibrato rather than a natural one. A wee bit like that. If you think Gatling gun, think goat, think sheep, and try and imitate those sounds, you'll get that kind of idea. It's a very forced vibrato. It works really well in this context because it's done as she's like scooping through these long phrases. So it just gives like a bit of movement to the piece, which is already moving. Just lots of movement. She's moving from very aspirate places onto quite nasal sounds as well, which is a lovely kind of distinction. So you're getting like a really light misty sound into a thicker, almost kind of operatic sound. You wouldn't have to change too many things there to get a real operatic kind of sound coming forward. So she really knows how to use her voice, and she's using it in her completely her own way. Like, this is unique to her, and yeah, I'm digging it. Oh, I like that. So there was a diminuendo. So that's a crescendo goes up and gets louder. A diminuendo comes down and gets quieter. So she really pushed, and the whole phrase was swelling up and up and up, and then it's went. And she sucked it right back into this lovely intimate place. These kind of vocal movements are so effective because you're essentially like pushing your audience, pushing, and then you suck them back in. It's great. One of my favourite things vocally, I would say. Another thing I like is that she's kind of off in her own world. Like, her eyes seem to be closed most of the time. Some folk don't like that. They want that connection. But to me, like, too much eye contact is like violent. I get really cagey when people like stare me dead in the eyes for ages. So I'm kind of liking this. She's off in her own world, and she's just letting kind of her feelings out in whatever way they seem to be presenting themselves. I'm not sure if this is the same every single time or if she just goes with how she feels, but it seems very kind of instinctual. I'm loving how she's turning over her passaggio. So where her chest and her head voice would change, she's turning around and getting like a little cry over that. It's so nice. She's just taking all these tiny little elements and sewing it into this beautiful tapestry, a vocal tapestry. I'm getting very arty today. It's just such a clever idea just to sing in your own language. It's so cool. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, ethereal, magical, relaxing, which is not the most exciting word, but it was very relaxing. So I get loads of comments because I listen to folk from all over the world who sing in loads of different languages, and I get a comment fairly often which is, you need to look up the lyrics, like you need to look up the lyrics. And I think this proves sometimes you don't need to look up the lyrics. Like there's beauty in vocals. Like I'm getting the message. And only she understands what she's saying. So to me, just vocals are a universal language. If you can translate how you're feeling through your voice, it doesn't matter what you're saying. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So I hope you liked that reaction. If you did, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? I don't know how we're going to buy this one because I don't speak my own language. I speak this one terribly. So we'll just make something up. I don't know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me and bye. 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 I had no idea.